So what really makes a great leader? We talk about this all the time, and we tend to get hung up on things like charisma, these big, flashy speeches and visionary personalities. But what if the true measure of leadership is something, well, something a lot more tangible, something more direct? Okay, let's get into it and unpack what truly defines a successful leader.
We all have this kind of romantic image of a leader, right? They're visionary, they're charismatic, they're just incredibly inspirational. You see them on a stage and you feel totally fired up. But when you try to nail down what actually measures their success, it's often a big question mark. The source material actually has a perfect name for this. It calls it the inspiration trap. See, we get so focused on the feeling a leader gives us that we forget to ask what results they're actually producing. And that leads us to the big central question of this whole explainer. What if our entire way of judging leadership is just wrong, flawed from the very start? What if inspiration, as amazing as it feels in the moment, isn't the real thing we should be looking at all? To answer that, we've got to first tackle what's called the leadership myth head-on. We need to really understand why charisma, by itself, just doesn't cut it. So let's start dismantling this very common but ultimately pretty ineffective view of what it means to lead. So where does this inspiration-only leadership go off the rails? Well, the problems are actually super predictable. First off, that high you get from a big speech, it wears off really fast if your team doesn't have a clear path to actually win. Second, when a leader is always the one jumping in to save the day, they aren't empowering their team, they're just creating dependency. And that leads to the biggest problem of all. This approach totally fails to build the team's skills and independence for the long haul. Okay, so if inspiration isn't the answer, then what is? This is where we get to the heart of it. This is the true measure of leadership. And it all comes down to a really radical shift in focus, away from you, the leader, and onto them, your team.
And there it is. Seriously, if you take one thing away, let it be this. The true measure of a leader is, quite simply, your team's success. It's not about your personality. It's not about your title. If your team isn't winning, then you, as their leader, are failing. It's really that straightforward.
This quote just captures that shift in thinking perfectly. Your main job is not to be the chief problem solver or the head cheerleader. Your job is to be an architect. Your job is to build a system, a process that lets your team deliver results again and again and again.
A fantastic way to wrap your head around this is the master gardener analogy. Think about it. A great gardener doesn't stand there and yell at the plants, trying to inspire them to grow. No, they create the conditions for growth. They prepare the soil. That's you building the system. They make sure there's enough sunlight and water. Those are the resources and clarity your team needs. And they protect the plants from pests. That's you removing roadblocks. And the punchline? The gardener's success is measured by the harvest, by the results the garden produces.
Now, what's really cool is that this whole system building thing, it doesn't just affect your direct reports. It creates this powerful ripple effect. This is what's known as the leadership cascade, and it explains how one great leader's approach can literally multiply across an entire organization. Okay, let's walk through this model. It all starts at step 1. You, the leader, build a super clear system for how your team sets goals and reviews progress. Then, step 2. Your direct reports use that system to succeed. And this is where it gets interesting. Step 3. Because the system works so well, they start teaching it to their own teams. And that creates the final step, step 4, a cascade of success that lifts the performance of the whole organization.
I love this one. Here's another powerful way to look at it. Think of an orchestra conductor. Their job isn't to run around and try to play every single instrument. Of course not. Their job is to enable each musician to play their part perfectly. The conductor's success is measured by the quality of the music the entire orchestra produces, not by how well they can play the violin themselves.
All right, so if we're all in on team results, we need a way to measure them that isn't just about good vibes or how much people like us. So how do you measure this kind of success? It's all about moving from these fuzzy feelings to hard, concrete facts.
So the first concept you got to know is the lead indicator. This is not about past performance. It's a predictive measure. It's the thing that tells you if the system you've built is working correctly right now and if it's likely to produce success down the road. This is what you should be obsessed with day to day.
So, what is the single most important lead indicator for any leader? It's this number right here, the percentage of goals your direct reports are actually achieving. Just think about that for a second. If this number is high, say 90%, it's the clearest sign you could possibly have that the system you designed is working.
Now, the other side of that coin is the lag indicator. This is the proof that shows up later. It's an output-focused measure that confirms your system isn't just getting you some quick wins, but is creating sustainable, long-term success and, this is critical, is actually developing real talent. And the ultimate lag indicator, the final proof that you've got it right, it's the promotion rate of your direct reports. A high promotion rate is the most powerful evidence you can have that you've gone beyond being just a manager who gets things done to becoming a leader who builds other leaders. That's when you know your system is creating real, lasting capability.
So we've covered the theory, the model, the metrics, the whole shebang. Now, how do you actually put this stuff into practice? Let's make it simple. Here's your new game plan with 3 actions you can literally start taking today.
First things first, stop managing tasks and start building a system. Shift your entire focus from daily firefighting to creating a repeatable process for success that your team can actually own. Things like management by objectives, or MBOs, which are all about aligning team goals with company goals, are a fantastic place to start.
Second, you've got to adopt a mindset of servant leadership. Think of your team as your #1 customer. Your job is to serve them, to give them the clarity, the resources, and the support they need to go out and win. Your job is to clear the path so they can do their best work.
And finally, measure what actually matters. Get laser-focused on your team's outcomes. Remember, their success is the most accurate reflection of your performance as a leader. Track their goal attainment rate as your lead indicator, and watch their career progression as your lag indicator.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final, and maybe a little challenging, question to really think about. I want you to take a good, honest look at your team and ask yourself, are they succeeding because of the system you've intentionally built to empower them? Or are they succeeding in spite of it? The answer to that question, that is the true measure of your leadership.